3, 2, what? Excuse me.
Nice.
3, 2, 1. What show? Okay, hold on. 3, 2. Welcome back to. Oh, God damn it.
Welcome back to Absolutely Marvel in DC. I'm Dylan, that's Benny, and that's Sal. Today we're talking about Batman, Dark Knight Rises.
You can't steal my thunder.
It's too bad. You're taking too long.
Sal took my ending, and I was like, what is going on?
Happening?
Climactic finale to the Nolan Batman trilogy, Dark Knight Rises, of course.
Sal is already annoyed by us. All right, let's talk about this. All right,
Movie sucks.
Wow. Okay. So Dark Knight Rises, we're not gonna run through the movie. You probably have seen it at this point, and if you haven't, why haven't you?
What's
or
wrong
you probably
with you?
don't care. Well, it's not that, or you just don't care. And if you didn't care
yeah.
now, why would you suddenly care?
You were born yesterday.
The guy, as the guy who disliked the Dark Knight trilogy originally,
Yeah.
this is probably the reason why.
That's fair.
Okay, so from not having remembered very much Batman Begins because I went to Iraq, and then not very much remembering Dark Knight because I went to Afghanistan, I do remember Dark Knight Rises. And I didn't, I don't mind this movie.
Right.
But it's definitely nowhere near my top favorite movies kind of a situation.
It's weird.
Yeah, well, it's a shame it's not a Batman movie. Like, it's really an interesting social experiment that they called a Batman movie. Like, they called this a Batman movie, but, like, there is no Batman in it at all.
Well, yeah, he's not really around until towards the end because the whole movie is Batman's retired.
I
So
love that setup, man. Like, that setup of Dark Knight where they were like, they'll hunt you, and it's like, wow, what an interesting status quo. Batman's gonna be hunted by the police. He's gonna try to do the right thing. Maybe the villains will be recruited by the cops. Who knows what's gonna happen? Oh, it was hard, so I quit.
Yeah,
also,
exactly.
I'm sad because my girlfriend. Remember, we were finally freed of a BS romance subplot, and then we have her ghost as the main problem for our guy. David Goyer can't come up with a reason for a guy to want to be a superhero outside of the fact that he wants to get laid. It's unfathomable to me. I don't understand. Anyway, that's it.
Before we nitpick, let's talk about what we did enjoy about this movie.
Yes.
Okay, let's do that. Because otherwise, all the comments are going to be like, I hate all three of you and you hated this movie. So let's talk about what we did enjoy.
They're going to be like that anyway, so screw
I
'em.
enjoyed the fight sequences between Bane and Batman. I thought that was pretty fun. I liked how they implied the backbreaking, and it kind of happened, but
He broke his back. I mean,
he recovered a hell of a lot faster than in the comics.
Yeah.
Paused.
Yeah. They did.
I did like the setup that he has pretty much retired, and that he's using other means to save the city. But I didn't like how it kind of just what obviously wasn't working. It was quite obvious. Like
Bane infiltrated the city. The city was completely corrupt. I didn't get that impression that he was even saving the city. I thought he was just like being a recluse,
doing nothing.
Well, and because the way, if you listen to the way he was talking, he's like, "Oh, it already worked. Everything should have been fine. Why did the funds run out? Why is the city like?" Because he literally was like, "It's like literally, he's like, here's money. Everyone's happy. I'm gonna go live by myself in my house."
I do appreciate that at least they like shut everybody up. Where he's like, "I gave all the money away and they didn't do anything. Like it didn't fix everything." I need to be Batman.
What they did.
Although I think that they were playing up the Batman thing. Like in this movie, I got the impression that Batman is an addiction. Like this is the movie where I hate Alfred because Alfred's just like, "Oh, maybe you shouldn't be Batman anymore."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Oh my God, shut up! You have facilitated it. You gleefully had fun being Alfred and helping him be Batman for 2 full movies, and then for no reason, the third movie they're like, ugh. But like
they did a 180, which is I think the big problem with this movie, especially when you watch them as a trilogy. Because I remember watching it when it came out, and I was like, "This isn't a terrible movie." Bane's voice is dumb. The Talia al Ghul reveal is kind of like, what?
I was so excited for a Talia al Ghul. Wrong Talia. Should have made it Rachel.
Fair.
You had all that setup. That would have been great if it turned out to be her.
Just a great, like, Rachel, you're alive. Yeah, and I'm Talia, bitch. Like, that'd be so dope.
Whoa.
This is for my dad.
One thing, I even commented this to you, Sal. I watched half this movie, and it breaks. There's a break in the movie, like an intermission. A hard break where they're like, okay, well, Bane won. Movie's over.
Yeah. Yeah. You might want to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, I literally stopped the movie, finished what I was doing, and came back.
There you go.
Like, I think this is the period where they were trying to get too long with movies, And this was definitively too long. You put 2 movies into this movie.
I mean, to be fair, Batman Begins is the same way. Like, the Batman Begins is very explicitly 2 separate movies, but it's quicker.
It is quicker.
And I think it works more there.
Well, we spent an hour and a half with Batman not wanting to be Batman, finally coming back and getting destroyed by Bane.
Right. Which is kind of funny,
Yeah, I'm finally back in it with my exosuits and tools and gadgets and things to fix it.
My magic knee brace, yeah.
I don't know. I think the problem with this movie is when you do compare it to Batman Begins and The Dark Knight, it falls so hard.
Yeah.
Because I feel like if this movie had come out by itself, or maybe if it was Batman Begins to this one, and then, Dark Knight was the third one, or the order's feels a little off, and you could tell that this wasn't the original plan.
Yeah.
Because, Joker's nowhere to be mentioned, obviously.
Right.
None of that is going on. Talia al Ghul probably should have been Rachel. It felt like we should make another Batman movie. Those Marvel's movies are doing incredible. That's what this felt like.
I think they were feeling the Harry Potter pressure because Warner Brothers, that was their Marvel movies was Harry Potter and Batman, because Batman made $1 billion. I think Dark Knight was the one that made $1 billion, but they were like, we are in the Bat business, but Nolan wants to make one more and then stop forever. So, oh no! And then, so they made as much Batman movie as they could, but it's still Nolan's movie. He's like, I want to make Interstellar. I don't want to tell a story about this reclusive douche. And it's okay. Look, getting back to positives, I think the acting's all pretty okay. I think everybody is doing what they can with it.
They're doing their best.
I think Marion Cotillard is pretty wasted on this movie. She's also the worst death scene in any movie ever made. Ever.
Fair.
It's just horrible. You could see her.
There's a lot of talent that's wasted in this movie.
Totally wasted.
Anne Hathaway and Tom Hardy especially are just why cast them in these roles?
Yeah. I like Anne Hathaway. The smart casting Anne Hathaway as Catwoman. I think she's a really good, because I always get I
hated her outfit. I liked her as the role, though. I think she did a great job with the role. Just the outfit of being well, she's Catwoman. So she's got these antenna ears. They're antennas. And
it's the apology costume. I'm telling you, man, for 3 movies, they're I'm sorry, we have to keep making Batman movies. I promise that the villain will be more interesting. Gotta make a Catwoman. Fine, I'll imply ears, okay? But no mask, though.
No mask. She's not gonna full mask it. She's
so
gonna wear
annoying.
I think she had a domino mask on, basically, didn't she?
Yeah, she had something. She covered her face a little bit.
It just wasn't a
she had
full mask.
Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, no, Anne Hathaway bugs me, man. She reminds me of that theater kid that's just too big for the britches.
Tom Hardy looked amazing. I'm pretty sure that... Was he the voice, though? That's my question to Tom Hardy.
It's his voice, yeah. No, actually, his voice was less decipherable back in the day. I remember the IMAX release, which was earlier. They released, the movie, and you can't understand half the words he's saying. And Nolan said, oh, no, it's deliberate. You're not supposed to understand what he's saying. And then they went, and the studio's that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Redub it. And so they redubbed it. And I think that's why his voice is more silly. I think it's if you have to dub it again, Tom, make it dumb. Make you sound like an idiot.
They didn't mix it properly either, because it sounds like it's coming from everywhere. He doesn't it sounds like there's a loudspeaker in his mask that's projecting his voice off of everything, and it's that's not.
That's
how
because they're
sound.
Lazy. The movie was supposed to come out the next day, and so he had to record all that crap in a very short period of time.
But also with Bane, I don't understand why they took the time to explain the mask, but not explain the mask. He was injured. This gives him something, so he's not in pain. What?
Is it Venom? Are you
anything? I think that's what they're implying, because he's so strong. But it's why are you gonna do one thing that's comic accurate and then throw everything else away?
Everything, except you get a little bit of No Man's Land in this movie. It's
a little bit, yeah, totally.
I liked that. I did. As soon as they were the cops have been down in the tunnels for 3 months and we've been smuggling them food and water and they're ready to fight, I was like, no, they're not. No, they're not. Coming from a guy who would be stuck in a fob for a week with minimal food and water, I was not ready to get into a firefight immediately after getting out of that thing.
No.
Fob's forward operating base. What we would do in the army is they'd send you way out there, and sometimes we get cut off because the enemy's in the middle.
Right.
So no, you want to make a realistic Batman, but you're going to go ahead and tell me that the cops are perfectly fine holed up in a tunnel for 3 months. No.
With no sunlight? Are you kidding me? I think, what's funny? Like, all right, so we're not going to be able to say anything good about the movie. So let's just talk about it.
The fact is what the good about the movie, we
direction, cinematography, sound, music.
Sure.
It's a Nolan movie.
The problem with the movie is it's a passable, okay movie. It's something you can sit down and watch. It is enjoyable, but you are trying to compare it to Batman Begins and Dark Knight, and then immediately following
wildly better movies.
Yeah.
Right, they're wildly better movies, and then immediately following that, we had Ben Affleck's portrayal of Batman, which is yes, divisive, but has more people who like it versus people who dislike it.
It's certainly more accurate.
Right, and so what I'm saying is the problem with Dark Knight Rises is it's sandwiched between two very solid portrayals of Batman and one very solid Batman movie and a solid Batman portrayal. So it gets stuck between these two.
Yeah.
And because of the death of Heath Ledger, it feels like an obligation. It feels like they were forcing it out. It also came out around Avengers, which tells you WB was like, we got Batman, we got to do something with this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, everything about this doesn't feel like they came at it with a love of Batman, which is what the first two feel like.
Yeah.
The first two movies feel like a passion for Batman was in those movies, while this one feels like I signed up for 3, I gotta finish.
Right. I do appreciate how big this last one was. Like, they went big, and that's kind of cool. That's all I can really say about it. That's positive.
The scope of it being like the cap of a trilogy where people come back and it's sort of finishing off Bruce's arc. It's both like, obviously like physical stuff with the Al Ghul's coming back, but also like, it ties up both things from Batman Begins and Dark Knight to do with Bruce specifically. And I like that a lot. That was well done. Scarecrow being here again was really fun.
Best use of him since the first movie was him being the judge. That's so great. Death by exile. I'm like, you got me.
I'm curious how you guys feel on this, because I remember people not liking this at the time. But Blake, Joseph Gordon-Levitt in this movie, I enjoyed him. I think he's an interesting take on Robin.
It's fine.
I don't like that he's Robin. I think he's a great character. That Robin Stinger is just dumb.
It's horrible.
No, I think it's stupid, Robin. But like, cut that and just think of this as like, if we wanted to have a Robin in this realistic world where like that wouldn't happen. Like, this is an interesting, like, a cop who like figures it out and kind of helps him in a cop level.
He's not a Robin. Cool. That's the problem. They want to call him Robin. They want you to think Robin, but like, he's Batman. Right. Like, the Dark Knight literally rises at the end of the movie. He's new Batman. And it's like, okay, I mean...
as like a sidekick to Batman, I guess. Yes. Not specifically a Robin.
He's a Duke situation. I don't need another Robin.
Yeah.
But you're basically Robin.
But I do want to be... But anyway, I like him. I think he's fine. I like his lesson. I like the... like... As a Batman movie, I hate it. Like, I have no interest in seeing this ever again, and I have no interest in watching this as a Batman fan. But as a film that completes a trilogy, it does. Like, it wraps up the thematic use of the of Wayne Manor, like, and how it sets that up and creates this whole like new place for it, and like, the new places that everyone is in. Like, I kind of dig it. They don't really do justice by Lucius, unfortunately. Like, I genuinely thought Lucius was going to die in that scene where like the room fills up with water. I'm like, and here we kill Lucius because this movie's miserable, and also because we don't know what else to do with him. And then at the end, we don't. And I'm
Alfred
like,
too. Both of them are like,
you said, away. He just leaves in the middle of the movie, and I'm like, oh man,
like, come on.
The whole movie, I'm like, well, at one point, because Michael Caine's great and his Alfred is fun, and this whole like crybaby bullshit is fake. Like, it's gotta be fake. And he'll pull a clutch move at the end. No! He just shows up at the end and goes, I found you. I'm gonna go to Italy and have an espresso. Like, it's not even an espresso. I think it's like a drink. But like, whatever. It's just like, I love that he shows up at the end. Like, he shows up for the funeral. And I can imagine Lucius being like, thanks for helping out, man. I don't know if you noticed, but the whole city was actually under siege and everything was really messed up.
Went upside
really
down.
could have used your like military expertise because you were in Burma, right?
I do find how they handled Alfred a little weird and funny. Gordon as well, just kind of like...
Gordon was a waste. What happened there?
I mean, he physically does things in the movie. Yeah, but like
he's in a chair. He's in a bed for half of it. That sucks.
And then he jumps up and runs around, and he starts like he's picking up like boxes, and he's writing things on walls.
Like that. I liked how he's in the bed for half the movie, and then just I'm okay now.
I'm fine.
Yeah.
What? What?
Why were you away the whole time? It'd be a waste.
This movie definitely lost my interest midway through because of the fact that I took a break from it. I didn't take a break from Dark Knight, and I didn't take a break from Batman Begins. Matter of fact, I didn't take a break from Batman and Robin, and I didn't really have like 80 things going on at once, which is my normal MO for watching things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I got halfway through this, and they did the break, and he's in the prison, and he's watching Bane take over, and I'm like, this feels like a good moment to go make some lunch and check out a sitcom, and like.
I do like the build.
And then I came back, and I was like, I still have an hour and a half. What the hell? Like, what is gonna happen?
He has to rise and then rise again, and then die and then rise. Like. I do like the whole prison stuff because it's like because who doesn't love a good montage and build up and like recovery story? Like watching him like jump to the things, I'm like, this is cool, this is fun, like I'm digging this. The thing that I don't like is how like they make decisions where it's like that this is a fake movie. Like you don't have to make it so miserable. And the cop that like is like, hey, listen, I'm gonna protect my family. And Gordon's like, you should be out there dying with the rest of us. And he's like, no. And then he goes out there and puts on his Sunday best, like his whole like all of his fatigues and everything, with his buttons and stuff, and then immediately dies. But I'm like,
That cop I found to be super weird and kind of like, what are you doing, man?
Yeah, like
when did this one comes out? Because I'm starting to understand like the reasoning why.
2012.
Like, 2012. And when did Avengers
shit. That's 2012. Avengers came out in the same year.
Yes.
Oh no. That explains Amazing Spider-Man as well.
Yeah.
Well, because for me, the like when this movie came out, everyone freaked out. 2012. I just got back from Afghanistan. So Batman Begins, I joined the army. 2007, 2008, I was in Iraq, and this when I was at Afghanistan, I just got back. And like going through the entire MCU buildup, going towards the original movie, which I can't find the date on at this point. There it is, 2012, April. Okay. So I watched this when I came back. I probably came back that month. To then go to Dark Knight Rises after not having good memories of the first two movies, I can see why in my head that the Dark Knight trilogy was not worth the hype that everyone gives it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I also realized to this day, I don't have very many thoughts about, like, I don't remember hearing much about Dark Knight Rises. Everyone reveres Dark Knight.
Yes.
And part of in every one of these reviews, I've confused the names every video until finally getting it.
Right.
So in my head, like, this is like it's an okay movie, but why do you all like, oh my God,
love it
Batman,
so much.
Dark Knight Rises? Like, in my head, I'm like, I don't get what you're doing. This isn't that great. It's okay. It's an okay Batman movie. Mm-hmm. I always assumed that this was just chalked up as being, the Batman fanatics love it.
Yeah.
Having watched it, I don't think it's a bad movie. I just don't think it's a great movie. It's sandwiched between two problematic movies that came out right around Avengers. There was a lot working against this movie.
Yes, but it also had it had the juggernaut that was Dark Knight. Like Dark Knight and Iron Man. Like, Iron Man and Dark Knight came out around the same year. I think it came out within the same,
year.
Month span. Yeah. So there was hype for both, and they both reached the same audience. Like everyone who went to see Iron Man also saw Dark Knight.
Yeah.
And and it built the momentum, right? Like that momentum took people in to go see Thor, and this movie took people to go see Dark Knight Rises, and it's like, no. I don't know. Dark Knight Rises. The other thing I just realized, thanks to you mentioning the titles, was like, there are 3 Batman movies, only one of them is actually called Batman.
Yeah. It's not called like Batman : it's just
Dark Knight Rises.
The Dark Knight and then The Dark Knight Rises.
And I think that speaks to it. I think that's just like, oh my God, I don't want to make another Batman movie.
Yeah. This is definitely this movie reeks of
2 seconds, just to clarify my Avengers release dates. It came out on April 11th, but it didn't get a wide release till May 4th, which I didn't know. Dude,
same week? Or same month anyway, I think, right?
No, because Batman came out like June or July.
Oh, okay.
But this is a day and age where a movie came out a month early and no one was getting massively spoiled by May 4th.
Yeah.
Think about that for a moment. Just a quick,
I
was like, just think about that for one moment. Avengers came out a month before wide release and you were like, oh my God, what?
Yeah. It's nice.
Anyway, back to what you're saying. I'm sorry.
Yeah, what were you saying?
Oh, yeah, this movie is just very, like, it's confused because it's like, kind of a shame because I really feel like, you know, Heath Ledger passing away is just, like, threw everything for a loop. Like, you can tell that they were like, oh, we got to make a movie still, and it's just all over the place and scattered, and it's a shame because I do think this movie is pretty bad. But I don't want to say that because of how good the previous two are, and I know that this director and this creative team is so capable of making good Batman movies because they did it twice. That it's just such a shame that like all of these weird decisions in this movie like crush the good stuff that's in it. Because
there is good stuff. Like there's stuff that I enjoy seeing.
But it's just outweighed by all the crap. By all the
right,
I didn't mind watching Batman Begins and Dark Knight again, but Dark Knight Rises going through it, I'm like, oh,
it's a slog.
It is,
sure.
and
I had more fun watching Batman Forever and Batman and Robin than I did Dark Knight Rises. Yeah,
yeah. Well, because at least
they're campy and weird they were.
Well, because they're baffling. This is just kind of like I know why this didn't work. I can see why this didn't work.
It's just like I'm tired. I don't want to watch this.
Any of the good in this movie is not worth watching. It is not worth spending the 3 hours to watch it. So it's like, just look up clips on YouTube.
Well, I think the length actually hurts it because of that. If it was a tighter 2-hour package, maybe each movie was an hour long, a lot of the extra stuff just wouldn't have been in there, and we wouldn't have all these issues. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think so. But it's a shame. Dark Knight Rises, worst of the trilogy.
It is the worst of the trilogy.
Definitely.
Not a terrible movie, even though this sounds like we were kind of nitpicking a lot of it.
It's not a bad movie.
At the end of the day, it is just us nitpicking a lot of it. It's just when you watch it right after everything else, it's just weird in comparison.
Yeah.
It just
Tales.
is.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the worst Batman movie.
No.
Definitely not the worst Batman movie.
No, I've seen the worst Batman movie.
What's the worst Batman movie?
It's Batman and Robin. Batman and Robin is the worst Batman movie.
I don't mind it. So we're going to disagree on this, sir.
I like Batman.
It's super dumb.
I don't want to make a claim on what's the worst one, but
not until we at least finish this.
Snyder stuff, but that's not Batman.
He didn't make a Batman movie.
He made Batman v Superman. That's the closest he got.
Batman v Superman is the worst Batman movie.
It's a shame that because we got one really cool Batman scene, and then the rest of it's like
the rest of it's
But that's
garbage.
next on our list. We're going to be looking at Batman versus Superman.
Oh boy,
great.
We will have an eternal discussion if the other movies, Justice League and Justice League, count as a Batman movie.
Right?
But at least Batman.
I think we should
Superman
watch Man of Steel first. As a little like interim, we watch Man of Steel and then we watch Batman v Superman.
That ain't no Batman movie. He's not in it.
This is Batwatch.
But like
this is Batwatch, man. It's
who
Batman v
cares?
Superman.
It's
Batman
v
v Superman. Batman v Superman is the next one. We don't need to know what happened to Clark.
They show you what happened.
It's half the movie.
Anyway, guys, I do apologize if you're a huge fan of this. This was a heavy nitpick. In general, we didn't mind it, but we're not going to rewatch it again. So, Batman v Superman is next. Don't forget to join us here for Batwatch as we go through every Batman movie that has Batman in the title. Dylan.
Or implies
These two don't have Batman in the title.
It implies him, though. He's the implied here.
Yeah.
All right, thank you guys so much. We'll see you next time right here.